Oh, for sure.
I have doubted my beliefs. 3, 2, 1, go.
So we got one strongly agree.
I mean, I'm gay. I'm from like a little town in Texas. It's difficult to not question your faith because you're told that gay people can't be Christians or Christians can only follow these certain rules that are set out.
Talk show, where we're kicking it and having fun on inspirational radio. We're the talk show, kicking it and having fun. So turn your radio up.
So for me, when I started to grow and to get a relationship with Christianity myself is whenever my faith became stronger, but it was definitely difficult, and I'm still really going through that right now.
There were things that I felt like I was born knowing that God loved me and that God was good, and then when I came into the church a little bit later, there were some beliefs, because I'm queer, so that people were just like, this is what it is, and you can't be this, and like, this is not da-da-da-da-da-da-da. But the reason I'm in this line is because I never felt that from God. I still felt like he loves me.
Okay, so what y'all think about that question and some of the responses?
Queer?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Is that the only word you heard in that, man? So the initial question, just to remind everybody, was I sometimes doubt my faith. And this was one of the things that, kind of took me back to what we talked about last week. So Sonia, I remember when I was sharing the story about the pastor who was now atheist or agnostic. And then, a couple of months ago, we did the show about the lady who was in church for 20 years and became an atheist and really, trying to do her due diligence to go against Christianity at this particular point. But, one of the things that came up was, how does a person end up, doubting their faith, doubting who God is, doubting who Jesus is after they've had a true encounter with him. So that's one of the things that this took me back to because the young man who said that he was gay, and then the lady that was queer, they're gonna talk a little bit more because now they're gonna ask the question about do you support LGBT community? But before we get into that question, any thoughts on what they said or the reason why they would have some doubts in their Christianity?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they doubt it because it's been, drilled into their head, hey, Christians ain't gay, and
spit it out, man.
Okay, so here's my thing. I believe that you can be gay and be a Christian. Simply because to me, being gay, is a sin. And there are plenty of Christians that live with other sins. You know what I mean? But they still are Christians, even though they have still some sin in their lives. And so I don't think that for that particular thing, it excludes them from being Christian. I do think because of the way that, we place that whole emphasis on it, they feel, not a part of or not as fitly joined in the body or whatever as other people. And so at the end of the day, whatever sin that you got, it should be uncomfortable and you should want to, distance yourself from it. And so I don't I don't feel sorry for them and feeling uncomfortable or squeamish in that regard, because you have to at some point say, hey, this wasn't how it was intended to be.
Yeah. When that word doubt came up, right? Doubt to me goes back to where is the foundation of your belief, right? So again, if you believe in God, or if you've had an encounter with God, I find it hard that you would doubt your belief. Now, the young lady who said that she was queer, and I don't know the difference between queer and gay. Like, is that?
I'm not sure I do either.
Is that curiosity? Like,
I'm not sure.
I'm gonna Google that, but it sounds like in her description, she said she felt that way from Christians, but she didn't feel that way from God. Like, she never got that feeling from God, in which that's I think a good thing, because again, if she has a connection or she feels a connection to God, then whatever she's struggling with, that will I feel like it'll work itself out in the end.
Me too.
I looked up the word queer. Let me see. It says strange or odd. She had a queer feeling. Okay, that's one definition. 2, denoting or relating to a sexual or gender identity that does not correspond to established ideas of sexuality and gender, especially heterosexual norms. So I still don't get what it is. It's similar to gay, similar homosexual. So maybe it's a level of gay. I don't know. Anybody knows the definition or has a clear definition, feel free to share it with us, please.
Yes.
But you had any thoughts on that, Lasagna, before?
Yeah, I'm with Dion. If you're a liar, you can be saved. You're a thief, you can be saved. You fornicate, you can be saved. It's like, if they're gay, they can be saved too. I believe God, He does love everybody, and you open your heart to Jesus Christ. And a lot of times on proclivities, He can clean you up over time. Like people who get a lot of women, it's like we have some sins that's normal sins. We normalize it. So it's okay to have that sin. But the truth is, the Bible says flee fornication. It's flee all unmarried, sex. If you're not married to somebody, get away from it, because sex was made for married people as a covenant. And God wanted to bless the people and the world through that particular union. And He saved it for that, for protection. Not because He wanted to limit the world in their experience. He wanted to protect you under your experience. So your spirit wouldn't be open to all these different spirits running your life. So it was a protection. Sexuality was created for man by God as a protection. But when we take it out of context, it leaves us unprotected. And then our spirit's unprotected, family's unprotected, kids unprotected, because your spirit is open. So I'm with Dion. Anybody can be saved. You don't get cleaned up and then get saved. Oh, I'm going to stop lying, then get saved. Oh, I'm going to stop cheating and get saved. Oh, I'm going to stop. No, you just come on to Christ as you are. He died for us, and while we were yet sinners. Gay, straight, lying, cunning, conniving, whatever you got, just come to Christ. He'll take care of it. Get a real relationship with Him and want to follow Him. He going to work on you. So that's what I think about that. Yeah.
There's one thought inspired by what you just said, but I think it's going to lead to this next question. So, if you can't see my screen, it says, I support the LGBT community. So this is a question that they are asking this group of people. Let's see what some of their responses are.
We're the talk show where we're kicking it and having fun on inspirational radio. We're the talk show.